Welcome to the Xpediter TSO Setup module. Here you will learn about the steps that must be taken prior to running an Xpediter TSO interactive testing session. In most cases, only two things are needed to begin an interactive testing session. The first is the standard execution JCL for the program or programs to be tested. The second is an Expediter profile. Many organizations maintain standard profiles for the convenience of their Expediter users. A profile provides Expediter with some basic parameters and settings for testing. We will begin at the Expediter primary menu. If the current profile name is the one you want, you may begin testing at this point. If that is not the case, we will first look at how to copy an existing profile from another user, and then we will look at how to create a new profile should that be required. To copy an existing profile, use option 0.4. On the next screen, enter the merge command. On the next screen, enter the name of the dataset containing the desired profile. It will be an ISPF profile dataset name. The next screen will display a list of available profiles. Here we have used the S-line command to select one of them. Pressing Enter displays the merged message. Pressing F3 returns us to the profile screen. We then select the new profile for use. Pressing F3 returns us to the primary menu with the new profile in place. Testing may now begin. If a new profile must be created, begin by typing the new profile name over the old name. On the next screen, enter the description. Pressing Enter selects the new profile for use. Pressing F3 takes us back to the primary menu where we see that the new profile name is now in place. The profile contents will be configured now. There are two choices for interactive testing. We will look at each separately as their setup differs slightly. Also, it is helpful to know why each option might be used. We will first look at option 2, testing under TSO. Since no job is submitted, a batch initiator is not required. This is a good option to use when testing a single step within a job where the input data is readily available. Temporary files passed to the step, tape, and cartridge are not allowed. Calls to subprograms are allowed. It is also a good option for testing new program logic. This could be any new code, such as a called subprogram with no I/O and no standalone JCL. The user could manually populate working storage and run through the logic. Next, we choose the Setup primary command. The first thing we see is the Setup menu, which, as shown, corresponds to the standard environment. We can verify that by viewing the Execution Environments menu. We choose option 0. We see that the standard environment is in fact selected. As a reminder, here you see the corresponding setup menu. By contrast, if the Expediter TSO IMS environment were selected, the setup menu would differ as shown here. There is an additional option allowing the setup of IMS parameters. Choosing that option, in turn, displays the corresponding IMS menu seen here. Back on the Standard Environment Setup menu, only one more area must be considered for the DDIO file. Here we enter the names of any DDIO files containing information for the programs to be tested. Remember that DDIO files are created at compile time and contain the program source code displayed on the screen during an interactive test. They are also time-stamped to match the load module, ensuring display of the correct source code. Exiting the DDIO Files area returns us to the Setup menu. Exiting the Setup menu takes us back to the standard screen. For many testing tasks, only 3 areas on this screen require attention prior to testing. We will look at the Program, PARM, and JCL areas and relate them to the corresponding execution JCL. First of all, in the JCL area, we name the dataset containing the actual execution JCL for the program to be tested. Expediter uses the DD statements to allocate the necessary files for the interactive testing session. Next, we enter the name of the program to be tested, matching the JCL. Finally, we may enter a PARM that would override the PARM contained in the JCL. If left blank, as is the case here, the PARM contained in the JCL is used. Note that the PARM contained in the JCL may be overridden during testing as well. With those elements specified, pressing Enter will begin the testing session. First, we see the allocation message, followed by the status message, followed by appearance of the program source code on the screen. We are now ready to drive the testing session. We will now have a look at completing the setup for Option 3, Interactive Testing under Batch. Here, testing begins by attaching to a currently running batch job. This is especially useful for multiple steps in a job where you may have temporary files, generation data groups, or tapes and/or cartridges. We see that there are 2 sub-options, but their setup options are the same. We will look at both. If batch is chosen, the setup primary command is available. Likewise, if multi-batch is chosen, the setup primary command is also available. That choice displays the Expediter TSO setup menu. Note that the environment option seen previously has been replaced with the job card option. We only need to look at 2 areas, job card and DDIO files. A valid job card must be specified here. The job card has multiple uses, but our primary interest is for Batch Connect. Here we enter the names of any DDIO files containing information for the programs to be tested. Exiting the DDIO file area takes you back to the Setup menu. Exiting the Setup menu takes you back to the batch or multi-batch screen where you may proceed with your testing. At this point, we will look at how to proceed to launch an interactive testing session beginning with Batch Connect. First, we enter the name of the dataset containing the execution JCL. Here we have prefixed the program to be tested with the I line command. For more involved job streams, multiple steps may be selected for testing. The Run and Submit primary commands are available to launch a test. We will look at both. Here we choose Run, which submits the job and automatically attaches to the requested step. Pressing Enter initiates the sequence, and the ensuing messages are shown. Caution: the run command locks your terminal until you reach the program you want to debug. To avoid this situation, use submit. Here we see that the attachment has given us control of the program, and we are ready to drive the testing session. If submit is used rather than run, the messages are slightly different, and the attachment to the running job is manual, controlled by the user. We are advised that the copy of the JCL that Expediter is using is ready for interactive testing, and we use the status command, which allows attachment to the running job. Note that attachment is only possible when the status is both running and ready. Here again, we see that the attachment has given us control of the program, and we are ready to drive the testing session. Finally, we will have a look at the multi-batch option. Begin by entering the test type and appropriate job information. Pressing Enter updates the status to show that this job has been added to the Expediter inventory of multi-batch jobs. There are 3 key points to remember here. First, all jobs meeting the specification, regardless of how they were submitted, are intercepted by Expediter for testing. We will look at this more closely a bit later. Second, these requests are persistent and remain until deleted. Finally, testing requests established here may be used by multiple users. In this example, we use a run command. This is followed by status messages and automatic attachment to the job. In this example, we are entirely outside of Expediter, and we submit the job from the editor member list. This is followed by the job submitted message and the waiting for connection message. Next, we navigate to the Expediter primary menu and enter the status command. As before, we attach to the job and get control of the program. For more information, look to Frontline for these downloadable manuals. Also, the Xpediter TSO primary menu provides access to the tutorial. Additionally, on any screen within Expediter, pressing F1 will take you to the corresponding area within the tutorial. In this example, we are on the Process Execute JCL screen. Pressing F1 for help displays the Process Execute JCL tutorial screen. This concludes this module. Thank you.